Hey guys, Hazel, Lil, we're doing take two, believe it or not. So I'm gonna send you one. We're gonna do this Brun. She was, Victorian era painter, and she did this portrait. I think it's of her sister. Some princess, but we're gonna take a look at these princess eyes. All right, have a glance. So you first want to start off with the tear ducts, which are actually rectangles in this case. Ooh, a little low. And you want to follow the ridge of the eyebrow. When I say ridge, I mean it comes up and across the roundness of her eyeball that's underneath that skin. You can start off from the tear duct on the bottom half, and you're going to make a super light line for the watermark, which is actually where the eyelid touches the eyeball itself. So both the thickness of the lower eyelid you can see really clearly, and then you just have to kind of know that there's a thickness to the upper eyelid. It's in shadow, and it's got eyebrows, so it's particularly dark. So you don't want to go too dark because you might have to change it later. So you want to stay light so you can make adjustments as you go. So right now I'm kind of looking at the white of the eye, which is called the sclera. I'm trying to like analyze that shape so that I can come in with the edge of the iris. So I'm thinking about the round part of the iris, but I'm also thinking about the sclera. And I got this white pencil here that I can even like shade in a little bit. Sometimes if you think about, you know, the space between the eyelids, the tear duct and the iris, think about that shape independently. It's easier to draw. So now I've got my outside of my iris. I've got to anticipate this highlight, and then the center of the iris is going to help you locate the center of the pupil because they're concentric rings. So once you find the middle of the iris, then you can find the middle of the pupil. She's got some dark rims around the outside of her eye. That's really typical in dogs, and whether this is actually the coloration of her eye, or it's the shadows that are existing in the eye, or it's the decision of the artist to increase the contrast between the sclera and the white of the eye, it could be any one of those things. Now this princess has been, you know, I don't know, dead since probably the 1820s or so. So we don't have the life reference to confirm it, but what we do have is the decisions that Louise Brun made, and you know, you can kind of get inside the head of the artist. She's got these the shadow, so the dark eyelashes rather, are casting a shadow down onto the pupil and the iris, kind of darkening that whole top portion. I'm going to leave a little bit of the paper showing through to give me the brown color, and then the white of the eye on the left, the sclera, is, you know, angled towards the light. So it's a sphere angled towards the light, and it's a light object receiving light, so it's particularly bright. As that eyeball turns away from the light source, it's going to be going into shadow. So a little white chalk mixed with the charcoal can kind of give you a nice neutral and kind of show that there's the shadow side of the eyeball, even inside these the eyelids. It's subtle, but it's definitely visible. And you know, if you want to draw an eye, you have to understand the spherical nature of the ball underneath these eyelids. So I've got a little highlight on the thickness of the eyelid. I'm trying of the bottom here. I'm trying not to go so dark with the light that it competes with the white of the eye or my highlight, because we want it to be skin. And I'm not using any colors on this, and you shouldn't either. But at the edge of that eyelid, we've got the lower eyelashes that she does indicate. The last thing I'm going to do is shade the upper eyelid, which has the light side, shade some of the highlights inside the tear duct, and then I'm going to give a subtle indication of the fold. And that fold is, the upper eyelid is what moves, the lower eyelid doesn't move. So as you open the upper eyelid, it's got to retract somewhere, so it usually folds over itself. All right, well, that's your 5-minute study for the day. I hope you guys have a great day. I love you so much. Blessings.